Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Confessions of a GC series. And today we're here with Rob Weller at Bedrosian Tiles and Stone. I think I pronounced that correctly, right?
Yes, you did. You did perfect.
So we're joined here with Rob Weller. So tell us a little more about your background, your expertise in this industry, and what really drew you to stone and working in a company that focuses primarily on stone and tile.
Thank you. I actually started my so-called career in a family business back in the 70s. My grandfather had started a company back in 1945 over in Hollywood that dealt primarily in antique textiles, carpets, rugs, drapes, upholstery, and the servicing of them. My father took it over in 1955, and I started with him about in 74. And I was with him for, again, about 25 years. We primarily did, again, textile servicing.
Okay.
So I was exposed to the industry at that time through a lot of the designers and decorators over in the general West Hollywood and West LA area. And it really did pique my interest. I had a lot of fun, learned a lot, not just from my father, but from his employees, and certainly from a lot of the designers and the decorators that my father worked with his clients, some of the very best over in LA, in my opinion, and had the opportunity to visit some really extraordinary homes over in the general LA and West LA area. Okay. My father decided there would be no succession. So in the late 90s, I went into the home building industry. And I worked for a large company running design centers for tract development. So it gave me an opportunity to stretch my wings a little bit more on the design side, also project management, material procurement, labor procurement. So it really pulled a lot of things together for me. I also did a stint with Caesar Stone, one of my competitors,
okay,
on the slab side. And but each stop along my way, I learned something, and especially with some of the quality of people that I would work with. Some of them were very giving of their knowledge. I joined Bedrosian's beginning of last year, 2025, and after a brief hiatus where I took about a year off before that to help my daughter with her business. I'm not going to give her a plug here, but my daughter has a small interior design and project management business based in Westlake Village. So I was able to work with her for about a year, one of those unpaid interns type of position, and I enjoyed it thoroughly.
And what makes Bedrosian so special in this marketplace? Because we know we use Bedrosian, we have you, which you provide amazing service, and that's one of the reasons we want to bring you on the show, because you're always servicing our account, and you're coming here, you're making sure that we're happy, our customers are happy.
Oh, that's very kind.
What makes Bedrosian special? I know you guys carry like some stone that you can't find really anywhere, so it's very exotic stones, right? Viola, very in high demand. You see that a lot of designers using that. But what other stones do you guys carry that are able to procure and bring to the marketplace that perhaps some of the other competitors don't?
Well, we do. Unfortunately, I can't, provide specifics because I need my cheat sheets, because there are just so many now that the family brings in. And that's going to allow me, let me take a quick side trip. You asked about Bedrosian. Bedrosian is a family-owned business.
Okay.
Was started, I believe, about 60, 70 years ago. I think we're in the third generation of ownership right now within the family. And it is completely family-owned. We've got approximately 40 locations across the country.
Wow.
It is a extraordinary organization in the sense that ownership is heavily involved in day-to-day activities. Our mid-level management is fantastic. We rely on them greatly, but we know we've got the backing of the ownership, again, at the Bedrosian level.
And how many employees at Bedrosian throughout the entire U.S. or world?
Well, worldwide we have buyers overseas for us, but I'm going to say we have 400 employees, something like that. It's hard for me to gauge that because I'm more familiar with West Coast operations than East Coast. But yeah, it's a significant organization. The family has reinvested a lot of their personal money that they could Other families would have just pulled out,
Right.
but they have reinvested into the organization. Each of our locations has indoor warehousing, including for our slabs. We have our design center, our showrooms, which most of them have been renovated.
Yeah, they're beautiful. We've seen some really nice showrooms here in LA that are really nice, and they're very. The design is very intriguing, right? And it pulls people to go visit the slab yards at Bedrosian. It makes it very clean and organized to see that.
Yeah, we try to stay on trend, but also not be too trendy, because then it goes out of style.
Right.
So the showrooms now are being reconfigured where they're a bit more open, as the one in Silmar is much more open space. Quite a few vignettes have been set up, but then a lot of grouted samples of the material so that clients can see what material looks like grouted. And then you mentioned about the slabs. We have just an extraordinary array of material, everything from the new porcelain, including the through-body porcelain slabs, of course, quartz, which, by the way, our quartz is compliant for the low-carb emissions.
But talking about quartz, quartz is something as us as a company, we're not really using anymore.
Right.
We know everything's really transitioned to natural stone.
Right.
It's just it's nice and classy. It's timeless. Taj Mahal, you see it a lot.
Yeah.
It's a trending slab right now, right?
Right.
Taj Mahal, and it'll probably trend out by the end of 2026, I would assume.
Well,
Calcutta Viola, a beautiful slab.
Right.
Extremely expensive, right?
Yes, it is.
$7,000-8,000 a slab.
Well, yeah,
unless you
it
go
can
like a
be.
porcelain, which is like a replica, but the natural stone is really that timeless, right?
Yeah, well, natural stone, I think that what's appealing to especially the type of clientele that you service is the variations. Obviously, no two slabs are the same.
Right.
They are just have a beauty. There's a depth to them that is very hard to achieve with the quartz. When you're looking down into a material, you've got this veining, which you still can get book match. I mean, that's not an issue, but the veining is unique. And with quartz, it's somewhat, not always, but somewhat repetitive. But with natural stone, it's what Mother Nature has given us. And you can use natural stone with a much stronger sense that you're servicing your clients better now, or as well as one could with natural stone, because the sealers have come so far that you can put a quartz or a quartzite into a kitchen and seal them with some of these new sealers, which many of them do not change the appearance. You can get some that enhance and bring out the veining more. But what that allows you to do is to use a natural stone in a potentially high use and possible abusive situation,
right,
and not worry about it. If you spill red wine, you put something highly acidic like a tomato paste on it. It used to be years ago.
Any particular sealers that Bedrosian sells that you could recommend? You say are very, very good.
Again, I would need to defer to our SKUs. We have quite a few, and each has its particular use. Some do, as I mentioned, have enhancing abilities to them.
Is this something that perhaps our viewers can look online from Bedrosians and see, what type of sealer you guys sell?
Yes, we do. We do try to have our website be very robust with information, but here again, there's only so much that can be portrayed. It's typically better to have your viewers meet with you, and then if necessary, have them come to us and meet with one of our showroom attendants that can walk them through, or some of our people that are on the technical side. And we do have them not only at the branch level, but also regional. So if there's ever a question about what specific, let's say, sealers should be used or can be used, we have technical advisors that can make specific recommendations to that material.
I mean, one of the things that we've done when we're doing these kitchen remodels and we're doing the slab installation is we're recommending one of our vendors, Toughskin, which is a film that's applied over the stone after it's installed, right? And what that does, it helps, it's a film that protects from any wine spills or oil spills. So it has its pros and its cons, but it definitely preserves the mineral density of that stone. So you don't see all that patina, right? Yeah. You don't see the scratches or stains on the actual marble or stone. Talking about stone, so Cristallo is something that has really caught my interest lately. I think the Cristallo stone is one of the most beautiful ones, but also extremely expensive.
Yeah.
I mean, some of these stones are going for $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 a slab.
Yeah.
A slab, average kitchen is 4 slabs. So that's $40,000, and just so it's unattainable for most households, right? I mean, just spending that type of money on stone plus the fabrication costs it's extremely expensive, right?
Well, it is.
Do you have any Cristallos? That's what I was getting to. Do you have any Cristallos that perhaps are less expensive but yet beautiful?
Yes, and yes, absolutely. Again, because of the buying power of this family, the Bedrosian family, and again, they have representation, in Spain, Italy, Portugal, all these major manufacturing countries for natural stone. That often we can pleasantly surprise an individual. An organization such as yourself with some of our price points that we can provide. And also, we do bring in material and hold it in inventory, which then gives us the impetus to move the inventory.
Right.
So we have it, we want to turn it over. So, we will work with.
And we get these weekly emails. I know you're always reaching out to hey, we got these slabs, you guys. Let us know if you're, we have this great bundle at a great price. And, that's one of the good things about having you service our accounts, because we're always being informed on what's out there, what type of deals can we get as a dealer, and that we can provide to our clients, right?
Yes. And, but still, at the end of the day, one really must come and look at the slabs.
Right.
I mean, and that's really when the magic happens.
That's 100%, yeah. Because just getting a little sample like that is just not... it doesn't portray the whole beauty of the stone.
Yeah,
right?
and again, certainly the photos don't either. I mean, you can get a good idea of the veining, the movement on that material, but
that could change drastically once you get a little piece, right? Compared to actually seeing in real life, it's like, wow, what's a different slab, different piece from what I thought it was.
Exactly. This is why, for myself and many of us who represent the organization, we don't like to give samples of natural stone, because it is not representative of what that material is, unless it's something that is very consistent. But the whole purpose, well, I shouldn't say the whole purpose, one of the concepts behind going with the natural stone is the movement, the veining, the uniqueness of that material. So that is something to take into account. And also, when you come out and you could see it and touch it, because there's different finishes also. There's polished, there's leathered, there's honed. These all give a whole different personality to that material. So, that also plays into the selection process. And on top of it then, if you take into account how a normal kitchen is, let's say you've got your perimeter and then you've got your island. Well, if you're not going to do a split finish between the island and the perimeter, you'll want to see how you can imagine that slab being cut to do the perimeter, and then how it will look on the island.
Right.
Because that also, and if you're going to go, which I know I've seen some of your postings of your gorgeous backsplashes, full slab splashes going up. I mean, that is just extraordinary.
I feel, backsplashes, when they're slab, they're just timeless. Rather than doing tile, which I think goes in and out of trends, right? I think just taken that backsplash, the stone backsplash all the way up, it's so timeless and elegant and simple, right?
It is. Exactly. The simplicity of it, and still retaining that beauty of that stone. I'll take a little side trip with that, and not to promote tile for a backsplash, but one thing that we always will say when somebody is considering tile, put it in. If you don't like it after 5, 6, 7 years, it's not that expensive to pull it out and do another tile splash. So
True.
you could. It's not like changing your clothes, but it's certainly not like ripping out a whole kitchen.
Right.
So that's another way of looking at it. I like, like our Zalige tiles. Each one is handmade.
The Zalige style is beautiful. That would probably be one of my exceptions. I just love how that looks. It's so classy. It's very. I feel it's one of the few tiles that I like on backsplash that has that timeless feature.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, and you could trim it out with a nice, chair, a rail type of a quarter round to finish it off. and it just adds that extra element. You know, in a master bathroom shower, niches where you could do, a split finish in there, maybe a wainscot, and then you go the rest of it with a different material. Then at the back of a niche with another material, it just adds that element of surprise and excitement with it.
So talk to me a little more about warranty, something that no one really touches on when buying this type of stone from Bedrosians or other large distributors, right? Talk to us about the warranty.
Well,
what type of warranty you guys offer? For example, if we send a client to buy stone from you guys, and what type of warranty you're offering that client, if any, right?
Well, on natural stone, it's tough. But if it's been sealed properly, and again, I would need to verify this with my, legal behind me. Typically, it's a year minimum, for any type of permanent damage that might have occurred other than abuse on it. But really, what it comes down to is that there really shouldn't be any reason why a stone should fail, other than if it's obvious abuse.
All right.
Because if you think about it, that stone is millions of years old. I mean, it's you've got something that has inherent characteristics to it that create that density to it, but also the variations. It's not a perfect material. It's
Right.
not perfect. There's fissures, there's veining, there's different calcifications that are within the material and that come out during the milling process and the honing process of it, and it is what it is. But
that imperfect part of the stone is what makes it so beautiful,
Exactly.
right? It's natural,
Exactly.
rather than having a quartz that is, basically it's man-made, or porcelain, which looks great, but it's still a replica, right? It's a printed image, essentially, compared to a natural stone that's coming from directly from the mountain and get from a quarry, right?
You can't relegate natural stone anything below the best. I mean, as far as appearance, quality, uniqueness, even serviceability. You could service that. If something does happen, it can be resurfaced. You can't do that with quartz. People have tried, and it looks okay, but you can't replicate that finish after the fact on a quartz. You certainly can't do it on a porcelain because although we do have some through body porcelains, but typically you can't really touch that. With a natural stone, there is serviceability with that.
Right.
So again, there's no planned obsolescence with a natural stone. And again, if it's sealed properly and it's maintained, maybe depending on the household, maybe every 12 months, maybe every 24 months to reseal it, then there's that aspect of the maintenance of it. But it takes a lot really to ruin a piece of, let's say, quartzite, especially because of the density of it.
Yeah, the mineralization of the quartzite is more dense than a marble, right?
It is.
It's actually more resistant as far as staining compared to a marble.
Yeah, the pores are much tighter.
Yes.
Exactly. You don't have the type of fissures that can open up with a marble.
And you could clearly see it even in our showroom. The marble, which is our the countertop on the island, has all these types of different scratches or rings from bottles of water or glasses of wine, and you can see these little rings on our natural stone on the marble on the island compared to the quartzite, which is in our backsplash back there. It's still perfect. It looks like it's brand new. I mean, it's that quartzite is at least 4 years old. Compared to the island, which is the same amount of years old, but it's already, has all this wear and tear on it.
Yeah, and I would venture to say you probably are more abusive here than a person would be in their own personal kitchen because you're throwing samples on there.
Right.
Not all of them are backed.
Right.
So like a porcelain tile can very easily scratch a marble, for example, which is what you're seeing. On a quartzite, it's going to be really hard to mar that surface. It can happen, and it does happen, but again, you can work with that. You can remanipulate that surface.
So one question for you, and the last question before we go. But do you prefer quartzite or marble? What's your go-to?
It depends where. In the kitchen, quartzite definitely.
Just personally, what do you think if you were to install a natural stone in your kitchen, would you do quartzite or marble?
Quartzite. Without a doubt, quartzite. Because even though both my wife and I are terrible cooks, we do try to cook. We do spill things. I wouldn't want to put marble, even with all the new series and grades of sealers and coatings that are available. Marble is still soft. And I would imagine in our case, because we're not really good in the kitchen, that it would look terrible after a couple of years. Also, marble takes on a patina over time. Quartzite does not. So,
well, thank you guys for joining us. My personal recommendation, also personal preference, is quartzite compared to marble. Marble has some great variations, has some beautiful stone, like the Calicut Viola. I love that stone. But for a long-term wear and tear in a kitchen, my go-to is a quartzite. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and thank you, Rob Weller, for being here.
My pleasure. Thanks for listening to my diatribe.
You're welcome.